Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. Today we're looking at Nzxt's new relay range of audio products. Now they were going to dabble in audio a few years back from some of the documentation that I was reading, but they weren't quite happy with it, so they did put it off. And a few years later, this is what they have come up with. And to be honest, it looks pretty cracking. No pun intended, but today we've got a headset available in two different colours, white and black. The Switchmix, which allows you to go seamlessly between the speakers and the headset. Very cool. Looking forward to showing you that especially. We've got the speakers, these come in white and black also, and a subwoofer, which, sorry neighbours, I'm really looking forward to trying out as well. So this one we're going to do an unboxing and overview of all the different products, tell you about all of them, give you the details and things like that, and then we will come back and do some reviews at a later point in time, but there's just so much to cover that I just haven't got the time to do it before the embargo. So we're going to do one big unboxing and then come back and visit it at a later date. Also gives you guys time to ask questions in the comments and things, tell me what you want to see. So I'm going to start off with the headset, which is the Relay. Now I did say the Relay was the product family, but you've got Relay speakers, Relay subwoofer. Switchmix is its own thing entirely, doesn't have the Relay branding to it, but it does work with both the products. And also a bit of clarification, you don't need to buy the Switchmix to be able to use the headset or the speakers. They work as their own entities, so you don't have to, go into the whole ecosystem to be able to use a single thing. You can just buy this on its own. So this will retail for $89.99 in the UK, $99, 99 euros, that kind of thing. So about 100, pretty much wherever you are, just, make it easy. So nice purple box. I do love the purple that Nzxt use. So let's tell you about the headset. So this is high-res certified, so nice quality audio. You can also use cam to control different EQs and things like that as well. Got a detachable microphone, so it's not always going to be like gamer aesthetic. You can go for the more minimal approach, as you can see, just from as it is without anything plugged in. Does look much more appealing to wear out and about if you want to do so. You've got a load of different cables in there as well, so you can use it just for your phone if you're wandering the streets. You don't have to use adapters and things like that. You do get a range of different things included. So you do have a neutral profile on it by default, but I find I generally like a little bit more bass and a bit more high, so that might be something that I personally change, but like I said, you can change all that in the software. So our little accessory box, we've got a little piece of card just said about the warranty and information and bits and bobs and Nzxt support. So the first cable we've got is a 3.5 to 3.5mm cable. There is a difference in the poles on there as well, so the 4 will go into the headset and then the other end will go maybe to your mobile phone. That's got a volume and also a microphone mute on there as well. So like I said, you don't have to rely on a Switchmix. This can be used as a standalone device. Then you've also got the adapter from plugging that 3.5mm cable into your headset and microphone jack on your PC. There is also this pocket. We've got our little microphone, nice and soft for adjustability as well. Nzxt also say this is tuned for high clarity in your speech and unwanted background sounds. Last packet here, we've got a USB adapter, so you can use this with USB if you don't want to use the 3.5 or you don't have those jacks on your system. This will take the 3.5mm and then go into a USB connection instead. This is probably what most people will be using over using the analog side. So headset itself primarily matte, which I'm just an absolute freak for matte black stuff, so really up my street with this one. A little bit of spot gloss with the Nzxt logo, so subtle branding there, which is nice. The metal on the ear cups is also a little bit more glossy, but I think it does give a nice overall look, with the difference is that you've got a bit more satin on the metal than the matte and obviously spot gloss on the logo. Nice soft memory foam with like a pleather covering for the headrest. That's one of the key things they say, that it's got a lightweight frame, and it does feel very light actually, to be fair to them. Adjustability on the sides, nice easy range to adjust there. Left and right are indicated inside the ear cup, which I think is really nice, rather than having a white logo on each side. So it's a very stealthy look because of the fact that that's inside instead. So I do like that. So pop them on quickly, give you some, wow, very isolating from the outside sound straight away. That actually does a really good job of just passively getting rid of that background sound. So that's very impressive. I do think this will probably gather sweat quite easily and grease just because of the material it is, but I can just wipe that off fairly easily, so not really anything to worry about. Let's just pop the headset in. Very simple. It's very easy to adjust as well, probably one of the most supple microphones that I've seen on a headset, but it just stays put wherever you put it, even though it is easy to adjust. So pretty much a win-win there. Other things to mention as well, it does support DTS Headphone X, so that will give you virtual 7.1 surround sound, help you a little bit more in your FPS games and things like that. And like I said, you have got cam support, so you can adjust your EQ and things like that on there as well. So now looking at the Switchmix, this will give you a way to control your sound really easily without having to go into settings and things like that. And it also gives you a really great way to control what source it plays from, like really super easily as well. Like, this is crazy. So inside we've got a little USB type A to USB type C. Let's just take a look how long this is, because I know people like to know the length of cables. It's all about 1.8 meters. But to be fair, this isn't going to be miles away from your PC, so that's not something you really have to worry about. Under this little bit, we have got the control portion, and then this section will reveal the base, buttery biscuit base. So now we've got two parts to this. So we've got the base, and then also the little control box, which in itself feels very heavy. It feels very premium. There's, I'm sure, a lot of circuitry and things going on inside here. Might open it up at another point in time, just have a little nose. But we've got some simple settings on here. So we've got a nice big volume dial. Something I really like is a tactile physical control wheel, especially for playing music and things like that. And then on the right hand side, we've got a voice to game slider. So you could have Discord, for example, chat to your friends while you're playing. You can easily control how much of a split between the ratio of the game to the voice that you hear. There is a little click in the middle as well, so when you get 50-50, let's see if you can just hear that. And then on the back here, we've got a USB-C port, which will go to your PC. We've got a connector for the stand. Sounds a little bit strange, we'll talk to you about that in a second. And we've got the right channel, which is for our speakers. If we look underneath, we'll see a 3.5mm jack that will then go underneath. So we'll bring this around, we'll plug in the 3.5mm connection to the control box. Find a little spot for that to sit. It sits in there very nicely, actually. So now we've got this little bit on the top. You might think, what's that for? Obviously to hang your headphone stand, you can probably work that part out. But something that I've never seen done before, this simply allows you to put your headset on, and then the second you release the headset and it puts the weight onto the little pad, it will then transfer the sound over to your speakers. So it's a seamless transition. You don't have to go into any settings and change something over, unplug something, plug something else in. Literally just drop it onto there and it will swap over, which I think is pretty nifty. I've certainly not seen it done before. If it has been done, then I certainly don't know about it. But it's a really seamless transition between the headset and the speakers. I saw a little preview video as well, a little example for us for viewers, and it was just absolutely flawless, the transition between the headset to the speakers. And I'll show you this probably at the end as well, just to give you a better idea. But the way they've designed this, I think, is really cool, and I think it just looks great as well. Just the way that it's all put together, all in one little compact unit. So other little things to tell you before we go into the speakers, we've got a high resolution DAC built into this as well, which will give you 24-bit 96 kilohertz sound, which they say for a sonically accurate and enjoyable listening experience. So then the RRP of the Switchmix, which is everything that I've got in my hands here, is 119. So if you want to buy both together, you're looking at about 219. Depending on where you are, it might be a little bit, plus or minus. But it seems very sturdy. It's all metal as well. And then of course you have got that magical connection with the pad in the top to seamlessly switch over the sound. So pretty nifty. So now pop that on there and we get onto the speakers. Okay, so onto the speakers. Weighty for one. Like I said, available in black and white. These are going to retail for $229. The subwoofer will be 119. But like I said, you don't have to have the headset Switchmix to be able to use these. You can just use them as separate entities, which is always good. So first up, we have a 20mm silk dome tweeter and a 3-inch glass fiber woofers on there as well, which Nzxt say will give you a smooth, natural high and rich full body lows for a balanced sound. Sounds like it's describing wine. But in this box we've got a little bit of information, like I said, with a QR code, not including full manuals, which I think is great for saving paper. We've got a UK cable, of course, region dependent. We've got our speaker cable, and then also a 3.5mm jack, AC adapter, and then our RCA cables. So the first thing you'll see is these have got a thread on the bottom, so you can put them onto threaded stands, and that's also all rubber as well that's on there, so that's going to definitely stay put on the desk. On the front, like I said, we've got the silk dome tweeter and that 3-inch fiberglass woofer. This is a MDF constructed cabinet, even though it is a nice matte black and also white as well, depending on what colour you get. On the back, we've got obviously the space for the air displacement. We've got a volume setting, power button, the sub output, which we'll show you obviously in a minute, our speaker cable connections, and then RCA in, DC for the power, and then also you've got your TRS or aka 3.5mm connection on there as well. Then on the right hand side, we've just got the speaker connections, as the left hand side handles all of the active sound. They do have a pretty good weight to them as well, which is quite surprising considering the size of them, but it does feel very premium and high quality. Also on the left hand side, we have got a power indicator, and you might just be able to see, again, we've got some spot gloss for the Nzxt logos. So these speakers will give you a frequency response from 70 Hz to 20 kHz, but of course if that's not low enough, then we do have the reflex sub to add a little bit more bass. And this has a frequency response from 45 to 150 Hz. Now for anyone that might be wondering about buying this sub separately, this does have phase and crossover options on it as well, so if you're using different speakers, you have got adjustability for that as well. In the box for the subwoofer, we've just got the power cable and then the cable to go from the speakers to the sub, and there we have the sub. So this will retail for $119, speakers are $229, so you're looking at $349 for the set. Just going to be in black for the time being. There might be a white one, I can't actually confirm that yet, but we might see one. But for the majority of people, you know, black blends in better, and it's something you're more likely to hide away anyway. If we go to the back, so first we've got the volume options. Press to put your speakers to a nice sensible volume, and then slowly bring this up to match rather than cranking it up and then bring it down, because these things can kick. I've learned that from previous experience. Phase adjustment, you've got from 0 to 180 degrees. So like I said, if you've got different speakers from the Nzxt, you need to adjust how the drivers act, then you have got the option to flick that over on there. Then also, like I said, the crossover, so the frequency response, where you want it to blend together, you have got options for that as well. By default, if you're using the Nzxt speakers with it, you shouldn't need to touch it. And of course, you've got your sub port, so that will match up with the speaker port on the back. So you've got your sub output, then the sub input, then last your AC power on the end. Have a little look at that 6.5-inch driver. Very compact setup. Something I'd like to see in the future is just some big kind of like KRK size speakers from Nzxt, so if you can make those, I'd love that. But for now, I think we just need to put all this together and see how it all works in practice. Okay, so as you can see, we've got it all set up now. I've got the speakers at 100 and I've got a lower volume on my system, but you can also control them with the dial on the Switchmix. Now the cool thing I was saying about seamlessly transferring is the second I take this off, there is a little bit of a strange thing going on. I think that might just be where I've got a reviewer's build. It does go briefly louder, but it goes straight over to the headset. So now I can control the volume in the headset with the wheel, and then if I want to go to the speakers, seamlessly transfers over. The little bit where it goes higher, I'm sure it's just a software bug, because there's just a lot to kind of deal with here, and of course this is a pre-release version as well. By the time this is all released on the actual day the embargo lifts, you will have a public available version that will probably iron out the kinks as well. Speaker and sound wise, straight out of the box they sound really good. As you can see on my system here, I have got some different options, so you've got some kind of presets on there. If you want to add a bit of bass, you can add that. You've got the surround effect, like I said, the DTS X, you can set that on. And then also you can change all the different headset colors. So for example, if the camera can show you this, if I show you on the camera, you've got those LEDs, so I'm going to take that off. You can have that so it will change color. When you add the headset back on, you can have it a different color. When it's muted, you can have it different as well. So there are loads of different RGB options in there as well. In terms of the setup, I've got the USB to the Switchmix, and then also you've got the control dial. You can see that going up to the voice, that fades out the sound. You can also hear the volume adjust as I slide that slider. Very nice and smooth and easy to use. So then we've got the speakers on the speaker port coming out. They go straight into the back, and then the sub has the output into that as well. Not something that I can really play around with at the moment because we've got lots of people in, but rest assured I will be testing this very well at the weekend. So stay tuned for the reviews and things like that. Let me know any questions that you have. Of course, there's only so much I can cover in an overview, but let me know about specifics and I'll get them answered for you. There's also loads of different information about how to set it up if you want to use a Go XLR, or maybe using one system to record, one system to stream. There's all that kind of stuff answered as well. So I'll add relevant links and details in the description box. So big thank you to Nzxt for sending these out for me to look at. I hope you enjoyed this little view. Obviously the little jump in volume aside, I think it's really nifty how the sound goes straight from the headset to the speakers just by dropping that on. Pretty unique, something we haven't seen. So good job Nzxt. It all feels very well built as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comments box below and I'll get back to you. Links will be in the description box if you want to pick anything up. Big thank you to Nzxt for sending all this out with me to look at. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you all in the next one.